Every fairy tale wedding faces the same reckoning, the 7-year itch, when love either breaks or becomes real. Tonight we start with 10 of the most extravagant celebrity weddings ever thrown. The gowns, the private islands, the million-dollar vows. Then we follow 10 couples who made it past year 7 when everyone bet against them. And by the end, you'll know the 12 quiet signs that tell you your love is built to last. Love has no limit, so today we're counting down the couples who prove that love deserves the grandest stage. From custom couture to castle ceremonies. These weddings weren't just parties, they were legendary milestones that showed what's possible when two people say, I do. Starting at number 10 at $2.5 million is Priyanka and Nick Jonas. Now Priyanka and Nick kicked off their marriage with not one but 2 wedding ceremonies at Umebawe Palace in India. This wasn't about choosing between traditions, it was about honoring both. The Western ceremony featured a custom Ralph Lauren gown that took 1,826 hours to complete. Hand-beaded and hand-embroidered with floral motifs, the dress included 2,380,000 mother-of-pearl sequins. The real showstopper? A 75-foot-long veil that floated behind Priyanka as she walked down the aisle. The following day brought their traditional Hindu ceremony. Priyanka wore a stunning red sabayachi linga, while Nick donned traditional clothes and a turban. The couple paid $60,000 just for their venue, but the intentionality behind every detail made it priceless. Number 9. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West at $2.8 million. When Kim and Kanye tied the knot in 2014, they chose romance over flash. The Forte di Belvedere in Florence, Italy, became their backdrop, a Renaissance fortress with sweeping views of the Tuscan countryside. Kim walked down the aisle in a custom Givenchy dress designed by Riccardo Tisci. The $400,000 gown featured long sleeves and intricate lace detailing. The venue alone cost $410,000, but the incredible views, worth every penny. This wedding proved that location sets the tone. When you're surrounded by centuries of Italian artistry, the celebration writes itself. Moving on to number 8. Paris Hilton and Carter Reum at $3 million. Paris Hilton's 2021 wedding weekend was a masterclass in personal style. The Beverly Hills estate, once owned by her own family, provided the perfect setting for 3 days of celebration. 6 dress changes kept everyone guessing. Her main ceremony look? An Oscar de la Renta masterpiece, featuring hand beading and a price tag upwards of $25,000. But Paris didn't stop there. She wore designs by Dalia La Havre, Marchesa, and more Oscar de la Renta throughout the weekend. Instead of traditional gifts, the couple requested charitable donations. Glamour with heart? That's the ultimate luxury. Number 7. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker at $3.5 million. Now, Kourtney and Travis brought punk rock romance to the Italian Riviera. Their May 2022 wedding at Castello Brown, a medieval castle on the coastline, cost guests about $60,000 just to attend for the weekend. Dolce & Gabbana designed every detail. Kourtney's $500,000 dress featured hand-embroidered details and a veil that took hundreds of hours to create. The Italian fashion house also provided table settings and approximately $250,000 worth of additional designer touches. This wasn't just a wedding, it was a complete Dolce & Gabbana experience that honored both Italian craftsmanship and the couple's edgy aesthetic. These 4 set the bar high, but the next tier takes extravagance to another level entirely. At number 6, we have Sophia Richie and Elliot Grange at $4 million. Sophia Richie's April 2023 wedding at Hotel du Cap Eden Rock in the south of France became the blueprint for Gen Z luxury. This wasn't about excess, it was about intentional elegance at every turn. Chanel created 3 custom gowns over the weekend. The rehearsal dinner dress recreated a look worn by Stella Tennant in Chanel's 1997 couture fall show. Entirely hand-beaded, it embodied classic femininity. For the ceremony, Sophia wore a lace-embroidered halter gown with a long train. Inside the dress, subtle detail told their story. An embroidered heart representing their love, plus a blue embroidered S&E above her heart. The veil featured resin water droplets that sparkled when she walked. Sophia's sister Nicole designed a pair of diamond earrings specifically for the rehearsal dinner. That personal touch elevated everything. The florals alone cost $175,000, but the real investment was in creating a weekend that felt both timeless and deeply personal. Which moves us to number 5, Jessica Biel and Justin Timberlake at $9 million. When Jessica and Justin married in 2012, they transformed the Borgo Egnazia resort in Italy into their private paradise. This week-long celebration hosted 100 intimate guests, including Jimmy Fallon and Andy Samberg. Jessica broke tradition by wearing pink. Her custom gown floated down the aisle like something from a dream. The color choice was bold, unexpected, and completely her. Justin serenaded Jessica as she walked towards him. He wrote an original song specifically for that moment, a performance their guests will never forget. After the ceremony, the celebration continued with multiple events across the Italian countryside. The couple spent $6.5 million in 2012 dollars, equivalent to $9 million today. But the real luxury was taking an entire week to celebrate with their closest friends and family in one of Italy's most beautiful regions. Number 4, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez at $10 million. Venice became the backdrop for one of 2025's most talked about weddings. Jeff and Lauren's multi-day celebration in June proved that even billionaires value intimacy. 200 guests, 70 of them family. Lauren's custom Dolce & Gabbana gown took over 900 hours to make. Inspired by Sophia Loren's 1958 wedding dress in the film Houseboat, the high necklace design featured 180 hand-finished silk buttons down the train. Inside, a secret souvenir from Lauren's Blue Origin spaceflight, a piece she carried to space and back. The couple requested charitable donations instead of gifts, directing contributions to Venice Heritage Organization. They also hosted a foam party and pajama-themed reception, proving that even at this price point, fun matters. Even Diane von Furstenberg hosted a welcome dinner. The weekend included performances from Friends, Dolce & Gabbana diamond earrings that arrived by armored truck, and a Dolce Notte-themed party where Lauren wore Versace. This wasn't just expensive, it was a complete reimagining of what a wedding weekend could be. But now we're going into wedding budgets that rival small countries, starting with Michael Jordan and Yvette at $13.8 million. In 2013, Michael Jordan proved that legends celebrate like legends. His Palm Beach wedding to Yvette at Bears Club brought 300 guests, including Tiger Woods and Spike Lee. Yvette wore a Jeton couture gown covered in Swarovski crystals that caught every light. After their ceremony, Usher performed at the reception. Because when you're Michael Jordan, casual entertainment means Grammy winners. The couple spent $10 million in 2013, equivalent to $13.8 million today. But here's what made it legendary. Instead of a traditional gift registry, they requested donations to the James R. Jordan Foundation, named after Michael's late father. Their wedding flowers were donated to Jupiter Medical Center the next day, and that made it even more special. Rolling to number 2, Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphrey at $14.2 million. Though their marriage lasted just 72 days, Kim and Kris's August 2011 wedding remains one of the most extravagant celebrations ever filmed. The Montecito estate hosted 450 guests, including Demi Lovato and Serena Williams. Kim wore a custom Vera Wang ball gown because when you're creating a fairy tale moment, you go full princess. The dress alone became iconic, even if the marriage didn't last. The couple spent $10 million in 2011 dollars, equivalent to $14.2 million today. E-cameras documented everything for a 2-part special that drew massive ratings. The celebration proved that scale and spectacle can exist even when the relationship doesn't endure. Sometimes the wedding is the story, not the marriage. And that brings us to number 1. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle at $54.9 million. Ladies, nothing compares to a royal wedding. When Harry and Meghan married at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle in 2018, 2 billion people watched it worldwide. This wasn't just a wedding, it was a global cultural moment. Meghan's custom Givenchy gown featured a 16-foot veil embroidered with 53 Commonwealth flowers, one for each country. The dress cost $265,000, but the symbolism was priceless. A gospel choir performed, Elton John played at the reception. Idris Elba DJ'd the evening party. The couple had a private vow ceremony 3 days before the televised event, proving that even with 600 guests and billions watching, intimacy still mattered. The celebration cost $42.8 million in 2018, equivalent to $54.9 million today, nearly 4 times more than the second most expensive wedding on our list. Security alone required massive investment. But this was about more than money. It was about blending royal tradition and modern values, diversity and genuine love. What happens to a relationship when the honeymoon is officially over? When the butterflies have settled, the cameras have moved on, and real life walks through the front door. That's the moment people call the 7-year itch. And in Hollywood, where everything moves faster and burns brighter, most couples don't make it past that moment. But some do. And this list is proof that forever isn't a fairy tale. So stay with us until number 1, because that couple is genuinely going to surprise you. Number 10, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. Say what you want about the headlines, but this couple has been married since 1997 and they're still together. Early on, the scrutiny was relentless. Their relationship started while Will was still legally married to someone else, and the public never let them forget it. They could have crumbled under that weight. Instead, they made a decision that almost every couple on this list makes at some point. They chose privacy over performance. Jada has said openly that they stopped trying to have a normal marriage and started building something that actually worked for them. That's not a scandal. That's 2 people refusing to let outside noise define what happens inside their home. Whatever your opinion on them, 20 plus years is 20 plus years. Moving on to number 9, Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. These 2 met on tour in 1996, fell in love while literally making music together, and have been inseparable ever since. Country music is a grind. Touring seasons are long, time apart is constant, and the industry pressure is relentless. But Tim and Faith turned their shared passion into a love language. They've toured together, recorded together, and shown up for each other in the most public ways possible. Not for the cameras, but because that creative partnership is genuinely the foundation they built on. When your partner is also your collaborator, you don't drift apart during the hard stretches. You create your way through them. That's a blueprint a lot of couples overlook. Number 8, Beyoncé and Jay-Z. Nobody needs a recap of 2016. Lemonade came out, the world held its breath, and everyone assumed they knew exactly what was going to happen next. They didn't. What happened instead was that 2 people, at the absolute peak of their fame, chose to do the hard work instead of the easy exit. They went to therapy. They wrote music about it. They came back to each other. When Beyoncé performed at Coachella in 2018, Jay-Z was backstage with their daughter. That image said more than any interview ever could. A rough patch doesn't have to be the end of the story. For them, it became the chapter that made everything that followed mean more. Number 7, Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard. Now these 2 are almost unfairly open about the fact that their marriage takes real effort. Dax has talked casually about his sobriety struggles, about the moments his recovery put strain on their relationship, and about how therapy saved them more than once. Kristen has matched that honesty without flinching. They don't make it look easy because it isn't easy, and they refuse to pretend otherwise. There's something genuinely powerful about 2 people who are willing to say, we needed help and we got it. No shame, no spin, just results. They've been together since 2007, and they're still solving it out together, which is exactly the point. And we're only halfway through the list, and already a pattern is starting to show. But wait until you see number 4. Most people forget about this couple entirely, and that might be exactly why their story is the most inspiring on here. Number 6, Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Here's something worth sitting with. These 2 have never actually gotten married. They've been together since 1983, raised a family, built careers side by side, and they made that choice on purpose. Goldie has said she believes the fact that they genuinely choose each other every single day without a legal contract forcing them to is part of what keeps the relationship alive. They were close friends long before they were romantic partners. They knew each other's habits, flaws, and rhythms before any of the feelings showed up. When you already know someone that deeply, the shine doesn't fade the same way. There's nothing to be disillusioned by, because you never had illusions in the first place. Over 40 years and still going. That's not luck. That's a decision made over and over again. Sliding over to number 5, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. Now, they met on the set of I Know What You Did Last Summer in 1997, started dating quietly, and got married in 2002, before either of them had fully figured out what the next chapter of their careers would look like. Hollywood has a way of making that kind of uncertainty eat relationships alive. But it didn't eat theirs. When Sarah stepped back from acting to focus on their family and business ventures, Freddie stepped up at home without it becoming a talking point or attention. When Freddie's career shifted away from leading roles, Sarah was steady beside him. Neither of them turned the other's choice into a crisis. They've talked openly about making their marriage a priority over their individual momentum. And you can hear in how they speak about each other that it wasn't a sacrifice. It was a preference. Over 20 years, 2 kids, and every industry shift in between, they've built something that doesn't need a dramatic story to prove it's real. Number 4, Denzel Washington and Pauletta Pearson. This is the one. Married in 1983, together for decades, and somehow they almost never end up in these conversations. No viral moments, no dramatic public narratives, no Netflix documentary about their love story. Just 2 people who met, chose each other, renewed their vows in South Africa in 1995, with Archbishop Desmond Tutu presiding, and kept going. Denzel once said that his wife deserves credit for holding their family together. During the years his career was consuming everything in its path. He said it plainly, without it being a press moment. That's what makes it land. The couples who stay out of the spotlight often do so because they're actually busy protecting something real. Pauletta isn't famous for being Denzel's wife. She's a concert pianist and an actress in her own right. 2 full people building one lasting thing together, quietly and without needing anyone to applaud them for it. But the stories that close out this list are on a whole nother level. Number 3, David and Victoria Beckham. By the early 2000s, they were arguably the most famous couple on the planet. Then tabloids lit up with rumored affairs. Victoria was photographed looking distant at public events, and the British press spent years writing their ending for them. But it never came. What came instead was a quiet, deliberate rebuilding. They moved countries. They restructured their lives around their family rather than around their image. Victoria has talked about the years when the marriage felt frail, and she's talked about them without polishing the story into something prettier than it was. David has done the same. What's striking is that neither of them framed it as surviving an attack from outside. They framed it as choosing to start again from the inside. After more than 25 years and 4 children, they show up at their kids' events together, and they actually look like they want to be there. That's not performance. That's what work looks like when it pays off. And that brings us to number 2, Chip and Joanna Gaines. You might not think of their first when someone says couples who almost walked away. But in 2018, at the height of their fixer-upper fame, they ended the show completely. No drama, no fallout, just 2 people saying that the pace of what they'd built was pulling them away from each other and their family. And they weren't willing to let that happen. They chose the relationship over the momentum. They stepped back from something that was working professionally because it was costing them personally. Then they built it all again on their own terms, with a media company and a new show that fit their actual life. But the decision that protected it is the part worth paying attention to. And that takes us to number 1, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. Married in 1988, no scandals, no dramatic public renegotiations, no tell-all moments. Just 2 people who have shown up for each other through career peaks, through Rita's breast cancer diagnosis in 2015, through their very public medical issue in 2020, and through every ordinary Tuesday in between. Tom has said in interviews that he married his best friend, and that friendship is what everything else rests on. Rita has echoed the same thing. There's no secret framework here, no counterintuitive rule, just consistent, daily, unglamorous choice. That's why they're number 1. Not because their story is the most dramatic, but because it's the most honest version of what lasting love actually looks like. Not a feeling you stumble into, a choice you keep showing up to make. And that's one thing every couple on this list has in common. Not luck, not chemistry, not a perfect start. Every single one of them, at one point, chose the relationship over the easier exit. Sign 1. They fight to solve, not to win. Most people think a couple that never argues is a strong couple. But silence around problems is like a slow leak in a roof. You don't notice it until the ceiling caves. Research published in the Journal of Marriage and Family found that couples who work through their conflict together are far more likely to stay together than couples who avoid it. The goal isn't no conflict. The goal is conflict that ends with both people feeling heard. Watch how a couple handles a disagreement. If they're both still on the same team by the end of it, that's a green flag worth celebrating. Sign 2. They choose each other in small moments. Love isn't just a feeling, it's a daily decision. It's one person saving the last cup of coffee. It's the other remembering how you like your eggs. A great relationship works like a well-worn pair of shoes. Not flashy, but built perfectly for the long road. The little choices stack up over years into something unbreakable. Pay attention to the everyday. That's where real love lives. Sign 3. They can sit in silence and feel safe. This one is so underrated. Two people who don't have to fill every moment with noise have something rare. Comfortable silence means you're not performing for each other anymore. You're just being. If a couple can share a quiet Sunday morning and both feel completely at peace, they've built a foundation most people spend their whole lives looking for. Sign 4. They celebrate each other's wins like their own. No scorekeeping, no quiet jealousy. When one of them succeeds, the other lights up just as bright. This matters more than most people realize. A 2022 study from the University of California found that how a partner responds to good news predicts relationship satisfaction just as powerfully as how they respond to bad news. Genuine celebration of each other's growth, that's love showing up on its best day. But the signs get even more specific from here. Sign 5. They don't need to be together every single second. Healthy space in a relationship is like breathing room in a good house. Without it, everything feels suffocating. Couples who last understand that independence feeds the relationship, not threaten it. They have their own friendships, their own interests, their own quiet time, and then they come back to each other fuller because of it. That's not distance, that's wisdom. Sign 6. They still flirt with each other years in. Honestly, this might be my favorite sign on the list. A couple that still teases each other, still sends silly texts, still catches each other's eye across a crowded room after a decade together, that's the real goal. Playfulness keeps love from going stiff. It's the difference between a relationship that grows and one that just ages. Sign 7. They talk about the future like it's already decided. Not if we're still together, not maybe someday. They say we want to go together. We want to go there. We're thinking about that. Future building together is one of the clearest signs two people are genuinely invested. It keeps both people walking in the same direction even when life gets complicated. Sign 8. They apologize and mean it. This is a skill. Not everyone has it. A real apology doesn't come with a but attached. It doesn't flip into an argument about who started it. It's clean, it's honest, and it moves the relationship forward instead of dragging it backward. Couples who repair well after a rupture are the ones who build trust that actually holds. Knowing how to say sorry and mean it is one of the most loving things a person can do. But now we're getting to the signs most people completely overlook. Sign number 9. They protect each other's reputation when no one is watching. Loyalty isn't just about staying. It's about what you say when your partner isn't in the room. Couples who last don't vent to anyone who will listen. They don't throw each other under the bus at dinner parties. They handle private problems privately. That kind of loyalty is like the roots of a tree. Nobody sees them, but they're the reason the whole thing stands. Sign 10. They grow individually and still grow together. This one takes real intention. Two people who are each becoming better versions of themselves and who cheer each other on through that process are building something that compounds over time. Think of it like two rivers running side by side. they don't lose themselves in each other. They move in the same direction, stronger for being close. Parallel growth is one of the quietest and most powerful forces in a lasting relationship. Sign 11. They remember the small things. Not just birthdays, the little details. The name of your childhood dog, the meal that reminds you of your grandmother, the song that makes you tear up without warning. When someone holds those details about you, it means they've been paying attention all along. Details are love made visible. And couples who notice each other in the small ways never really stop seeing each other. Sign 12. They make each other feel safe enough to be fully honest. Of all 12 signs, this might be the one most people underestimate. Emotional safety is the foundation everything else is built on. When two people can say a hard thing or scary thing without fear of being mocked or shut up, that relationship can handle almost anything life throws at it. Honesty without safety is just vulnerability with nowhere to land. But honesty inside of a safe relationship, that's where real intimacy lives. And that's what makes love last. And speaking of love, let's see which iconic couple spent the most on their wedding ring by clicking on that video that just popped up, and I will see y'all on the next video.